Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of The Most Famous Person I Barely Met. And it's another episode with my striking co host, the inimitable Robert Bobby Schaub, who goes by Robert Bobby Schaub. He is the Ed McMahon of this podcast, a better looking version, drinks more, and can really dance. Robert Schaub and I are both thrilled to introduce you to our guest today, a fellow Villanovan, class of 1987, member of the national championship basketball team that year in 1985. Probably most likely the funniest person I ever met. And the fact that he's wearing an Eli Manning sweater or jersey right now and hat and Giants, deep down, I think he loves the Buffalo Bills. And I will say hello right now. Bobby will say hello to Mr. John Branca, known as the Wolfman. Hello.
Hello, JB. Great to have you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Johnny, where are you coming in from right now? Where are we seeing you? Where are you?
Yeah, so I probably live in the most bizarre state of all of the Villanova graduates. I'll get into the details later, but I'm coming to you from Fayetteville, Arkansas, home of University of Arkansas, and I'm not proud of it.
So do they? All right, we got a lot to unpack here, but let's start with the Giants. Are there any Giant fans in your neighborhood or in the vicinity? Are you a lone wolf, so to speak?
I do not have a Giant fan in the state.
Okay.
So, I mean, up the street, I have the Saints, I have the Colts, and then everybody else in the state pretty much cheers for the Cowboys, and even more so than that, the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of bandwagoners, but yeah, a lot of Chiefs fans.
So, well, that's nice though. And I know both these young gentlemen next to me, Robert and John, are big Giant fans. In the day, we used to go to a lot of Giant games together. I didn't like them, but I got free tickets and I had many a fun day diving into a bag of sandwiches that Robert's mother would make for us, and Johnny Branca screaming at the top of his lungs at the team. So I'm going to ask you both, your Giant fans. Is Scatabo as good as he looks, or is it just a flash in the pan? Let's just start from now.
Shabby?
I think he's got a unique build, so it's making it difficult to be tackled. So no, I don't think he's a flash in the pan. But then again, running backs have a very short life expectancy. So we'll see.
Yeah, and my opinion is when I saw him in college, Arizona State, I said, this guy is crazy, like crazy good. But then when the Giants drafted him, I didn't really expect much because it was another level. But if he continues to play the way he does, I think as a Giant fan, I think Giant fans in general will feel like we have a future with Dart and getting our best player back when he's recovered.
What do you think about Dart?
Shabby?
Oh, I think he's great. He's going to be great. He's made a few mistakes, but that's to be expected. But the guy has great. He just can scramble so well, and he just has a feel for the pocket, can move around well, and he can certainly run and pass. So I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth. Like now, I feel bad that they didn't start him to start this season. But then the other thing is when I do see him play, I think he's got he's so poised, but he also has to learn to occasionally slide, or else he's not going to have a long career.
Yeah, I don't like him. He reminds me of the bad guy in Karate Kid with those things he wears and those You know what I mean? I think he's going to sweep the leg anytime. You know,
Johnny Lawrence is a great man.
I
You didn't
know
watch
he's a good man. He drink. What's his beer, Bobby? What's he drink?
Drinks the Banquet, the regular course.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying in that show, he's a good man off the.
Uh,
You know, but what he did to poor Ralph Macchio, I can't forgive him. But I
I
don't
was
like
always
Dart.
rooting for him
I
against
don't
Macho.
like Dart. I don't like your coach either. He left my Buffalo Bills, that guy Dable, and I don't dig him. But
He's not going to go on for long.
I don't know. I don't know. Who's your Johnny Branco? Who's your favorite Giant of all time?
Oh, of all time?
Yeah,
On the offense, I go Phil Simms, and on the defense, I go LT.
nice. You know, I think both those guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, especially LT. He'll make it.
I think LT is in there. Phil Simms, I'm a little concerned about, right, Xavi?
I don't know if Phil's gonna ever make it. Right? He's not going to
Well,
probably.
LT didn't he eat glass and things like that and all that kind of stuff? You
Yeah,
know,
that's what got him in for the extra effort.
he ate the person who was voting for him. Bobby, who's your favorite player?
Uh,
Giants.
it's part of my pin code on my bank card. It's 8958.
Let me write that down. Wait, slower. Okay, wait.
It's Mark Bavaro, Carl Banks. Those are my two best favorite
Mark
players.
Bavaro and Carl Banks. Okay, okay. Well, they're pretty good. Very good. I remember. Of course, I'd like to talk about me all the time. One of the saddest sporting memories of my life was the wide right when Norwood missed a field goal against these Giants in the Super Bowl, and I was sitting next to the man here, Robert Schaub, who at halftime took it upon himself to drink beer to give energy and strength to Stephen Baker, who then scored like 35 touchdowns, whatever. And Bobby was so happy he fell down face first at the end of the game. He was
Baker, number 85.
that hurt me. That hurt me. Johnny Branca. So what are you doing in Arkansas? I know. Well, I'm going to say a little bit. For like 5 years, John, I know he's worked for a great nonprofit because I've been involved with it, helping kids, shooting free throws and all that. But you've had a long career, sales and all that, and you're back in sales now, right?
Yes. And how I got down here, when I was up in Massachusetts, awesome part of the state near Cape Cod, I was working with Nestle Waters, and I was looking for a retail role. I had for years, and I'll actually get into this later when I talk about famous people, but I had been managing the direct salespeople and the guys on the people on the trucks that were delivering the Poland spring water up there. And then I wound up in Massachusetts with I guess you'd call it educational piece, and then a customer service role. And then I said, I want to be selling, not just a customer service guy. So at that point, there wasn't a role available up there, but I was on vacation at my in-laws. I went to my father-in-law after a round of golf and said to him, yeah, I want to get back into sales. And he pointed across the room and said, well, there's the CEO for Acosta, which is a broker nationwide. And I had to I introduced myself to him. Went to probably 5 different interviews that he sent me to make sure that I was right for the culture, and wound up in Bentonville, Arkansas, where Walmart's corporate office is. The other options were Atlanta and Minneapolis. Kelly immediately said no to Minneapolis, knowing the weather situation. Atlanta, came close. But my father-in-law said, you probably want to go to the number one retail chain in the country, Walmart. And at that point, I didn't know where Bentonville was, but I went back to the CEO of Acosta and said, love to work for you guys, and Bentonville sounds like the move.
Nice.
And that's how I wound up here in the fall of 2006. And now I'll never get out because Kelly loves it here. I have no really good friends, the ones that I have wind up going to another state to work for another office within their company. And then she's got like her two best friends of all time that live here. So yeah, I'm pretty much stuck here.
So just to when you say Kelly, it's not Brian Kelly or Kelly Slater. It's Kelly, your wife, who's keeping you in
It's
Arkansas.
actually Kelly Leak, the outfielder for Bad News Bears. I don't know how we
leaned
hooked
over.
up.
He leaned over. It's the greatest movie ever. Walter Matthau.
Yeah,
I'm the
greatest
kid.
movie of all time.
Who's? Here's a question for all you out there. Who's the kid? Rudy Stein, who got
lean in.
Lean in. Oh, all right, Johnny. So let's talk Nova. We got to talk Nova.
Yeah.
We got to talk Nova. This man here, this Johnny Branca, lives and breathes Nova basketball. He loves Nova basketball. He has a championship ring, and almost all of us have a little mark on our foreheads where he would smack us with it.
I apologize.
And it was a badge of honor if you had your ring indented into your forehead.
And I did it to Steve Lapis, and he still hasn't talked to me. But I did it in the back of his head. Go ahead.
Give us enough, but not too much, because we don't. What got you to Nova? How'd you get on the team? What happened? And just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I played high school basketball with Harold Jensen, and we had known each other since about the age of 8 in Trumbull, Connecticut. And I'm so pissed at Shabby right now for living there, because I shouldn't be the guy in Arkansas, and Shabby's the guy in Trumbull, where I should have lived my whole life.
Well,
anyway,
blame Kelly Leak. Okay.
Yes, all because he got in front of my fly ball. I was like hanging out with Harold from the age of 8. Every team we were on, elementary school, junior high, high school, we were killing people, probably because he was on the team. But we also had some other good athletes, and you know the guys. But so Harold was like a second son to my parents, and they didn't want me separated from that guy. Even in high school, he was recruited by the Catholic school. We were at the public school, and he didn't wind up going on some kind of technicality. But my parents told me that I would be going to the Catholic school if Harold went there, just because they didn't want me to, wander off of that relationship and turn into a maniac. So the both of us wound up at Villanova, and I think it's because Rowley came to one of our games, and he came up to me and said, "It's one of our high school games." He came up to me and said, "What schools are you looking at?" And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, Villanova is one of those schools." And my dad is standing behind me yelling, "Business, business." Rowley hadn't even asked the question yet. Like, what do you plan to major in? And my dad's yelling business. I wanted to be a journalism major. So then we wound up rooming together. I was lucky, very blessed that there wasn't already someone in the student manager role. So I talked to Coach Mass about that, wound up as a student manager, and roomed with Harold freshman and sophomore year. And it was just so fun. It was stressful at times because Harold's freshman year, he was struggling, and they had a lot of people, a lot of coaches telling him what he needs to do. And I would be laying there in my bed at night with him yelling, and they keep telling me to relax. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about what they're saying. Just play with the confidence that you have, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, that story could go on for hours, but we don't have that much time.
Of course, 1985, we win the national championship, and Harold Jensen, amazing game, shot after shot after shot, very exciting. Other guys we know, Steve Pannone and that team. But Johnny, what made that team so brilliant? How were they able to do what they did? Iconic team, beat Georgetown.
Yeah.
What made them so good?
Yeah, I think it was less about the Final Four. or even the championship game, because we played Georgetown a couple of times close. But I think it was everything coming together at the right time. And everybody was playing loose. I would imagine kids that age, when they're in the tournament, have to get a little bit stressed. And when you think about the 6 games that we won for the championship, the first game was a fluke because we're playing Dayton on their court. And, Harold goes in for the layup, and Presley had a block. But it came down to the final possession. So that was crazy. And then we played like every good team in the country.
Yeah.
Michigan. I rarely say this in public because Novans get pissed, but Jordan had left a year early, or else he would have been on that North Carolina team when we played them. So everything worked for us. And when we got to the Final Four, Memphis State was just like not a disciplined team. And for some reason, Georgetown went completely away from their normal philosophy of basketball, just holding it, not pressing us. So that's how it worked out. It was, awesome. And Coach Mass, I just think, out-coached Thompson.
Yeah, no, that's really good too. And you were there for everything. All your 4 years there, you saw a lot of ball players. I swim at the local Y here, and in the summers, Chris Mullen swims next to me at the Y out here in the Hamptons.
No way!
I swear to God, and he swims like he plays basketball, methodical, boom, smooth, back forth. And one day, I didn't want to scare the living hell out of him, but he stopped. I looked at him. I go, I really like your. And I said, I go, you're the best shooter I ever saw live. And I met. And then he said, okay, can you please go in the other lane? But who's the best college player you saw in your 4 years at Villanova?
I would say all-round player was Lenny Bias. Like Maryland played at I think it was opening day for the new arena.
Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, right. And actually, at one point, he gave me the finger on national TV, which was cool because he had just like dunked on Plansky's head and came, the momentum carried around toward our bench. And I was just yelling something like, you jackass or something. And he gave me the finger, and I'm sure NBC caught it, and that was fun. But then I would say pure shooter would probably be Curry's dad.
Oh. Yeah, that's right, Del Curry.
Yeah. And we played them in the first round my junior year, I think. He played for like Virginia Tech or
yeah, Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Hokies.
And that guy, if he was open, it was in. So I'd call him the best pure shooter. And then the best center would obviously be Ewing. And I'm trying to think of a big man outside of him.
Yeah, back in maybe Keith Lee.
You like the way I broke that down by position?
I could sit here all day.
Well, point guard is Pearl Washington.
I love that guy.
Yeah, and he embarrassed Harold his freshman year when he left him at like half court when Harold tried to pick him up too quick. So, yeah. And that's one of the reasons Harold didn't go to Syracuse is because they were recruiting Pearl Washington at that point.
Yeah. I used to call Bobby Schaub the Pearl Washington of the bar scene at Villanova.
Well, yeah, because
he would do a lot of twirling and things. I could listen to this all day, Bobby. We might have to have Branca back just for a Nova hoop thing. You were such a good friend to have in those days because John did have this insight and this connection to the team, and these were our heroes. And the only thing that made me sad was that he never went out. He never drank. He never did anything fun. He was just all about school and the team. And then we only got to know him after. I just thought he was a straight-laced guy. But how did you balance, John,
Oh,
a social life with your many responsibilities?
my recipe, my recipe was very simple. It was take the classes where the professors needed tickets to games. That was the academic piece.
Nice.
Then
You
it
kids
came
out
to,
there, you kids
yeah,
out there, take this.
right, right. Then it came to the social piece, and it was make sure you know the older students that work the doors.
Nice.
So that was important. That worked out well. And then finally, I'd say the balance. Once in a while, girls would get in the mix, and then I realized I'm only in college for 4 years, so I don't think they're going to be a serious part of my life. The maximum relationship I would say was 5 or 6 months, and that was only once because the rest of the time I wanted to spend with my boys,
That's
and then the girls would only fill the role of one night stands.
right. Well, okay. So you kids, that's a nice moral lesson. Now, when you say doors, older people doors, you mean like the library, the church, the uh,
Yeah,
let you in early to
yeah.
He's referring to like Mike the Bouncer at Aaron Pub, who was at the law school. So
I didn't
and
like him. I didn't
yeah.
like. I had a little problem with him, Robert.
Well, Shabi and I did not have a problem with him,
Oh,
and
he
as a
must.
matter of fact, after we beat North Carolina, myself, Shabi, and Steve Pannone were
And
in
Duffy.
there after hours.
I think you told him to kick me out. I think that's what happened. So
You might, maybe, because Shabi, myself, and
he
Stevie
hated me.
weren't listening to a future Hall of Fame author.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Mike didn't like me. Bobby, anything I'm missing here with Mr. Branca? Any questions for him?
I think you've covered most of it.
I have such good memories. So after college, John Branca and I will be spent a lot of time together. We did a lot together. And I'm going to tell, before you tell a funny story, every now and then in our life, we get older, you need to laugh, right? I got certain things I can go to. They say actors have to go to a place in their memories to cry. Every now and then, if I want to laugh, I think of John Branca, a couple. And one of them is when we used to go through tolls. We used to drive, on the highways and all that. In the old days, they had a toll people out there. There was, before Easy Pass, you had to give them the money. And John would roll down the window, and these poor guys, usually, and John would go, "This is for the toll." And he would say, $1 paper, 35 silver, or whatever. And if it was a little more, he'd go, "Keep the change." And off we'd go. And oh my God, that made me laugh so much. I can't believe it. And then Johnny, sorry to tell you, at his bachelor party, it was up in somewhere in Connecticut. And it was we went to a club later, and there was a band, and there was a door behind the stage. And Johnny Branca was well known to get up and do raps and all that. And you got up there, the band was off, the microphone was on, and somehow you stumbled and went right through the door and outside. The door.
Shenanigans.
And so those are my two. If I think about that, I don't care what I'm doing in life. If I'm sad, whatever, I laugh. So I'll thank you for that.
My,
Bobby, anything to add?
my funny, the funniest thing to me that John ever did was the nullifications. He would just be walking. We could be walking through campus, and he would just stop in front of a random stranger and nullify him. Just
He was beautiful that way. He was a very, very, very sweet man. Johnny Branca. Let's take that moment because we're going to talk more and more and more. But trust me, kids, this kid can dance. He's laying down right now, but boy, Branca could move. He could move. He could shake it.
it's
Johnny
getting.
B, you've met a lot of people in the sports world, entertainment. Branca is he's everyone knows John. Everyone knows Wolfie. So he's met a lot of people. A lot of people love him. But who, Johnny? share with my audience. And I think maybe some of the players, maybe Del Curry's listening right now, but who is the most famous person or people that you barely met? Go.
This is very stressful for me
Good.
because I've heard some great stories on your show.
Thank you.
So I think my stories relate more to the title or the name of the show
Oh,
because it says barely met, correct?
right. Correct.
Yeah. So I've heard in-depth stories before. Mine are going to be short and sweet. There could be 8 people mentioned, but they're all
Beautiful.
very short interactions.
Let me ask Robert. Robert, is that fine?
That's you, John. This is your podcast, and that's the title of your podcast. So I
John
think
Branca, you
Yeah.
got our blessing.
Nice, nice. I feel much more
it's like a
confident
dark
now
John.
in relaying my stories from mainly the 80s and 90s and slightly into 2000.
Nice.
In the 80s, obviously, it was me at Villanova, and I had the chance to meet a lot of famous people. To get politics out of the way, after we won the championship, I met President Ronald Reagan,
Nice.
who I'm a big fan of. And that's all I said to him as he went down the row of managers and coaches. I basically just said, "Big fan, Mr. President." And that was it. So he wasn't having a long conversation with me at that point. Um, from there, I'd say, and I'm actually going in the wrong direction, but before we won the championship, we had to beat North Carolina. And the hotel we were staying in, I was running up and down the hallway, basically naked at that point, because we had been celebrating for a while. And the elevator opens, and it's Dean Smith and his wife. Me and him are locked in, eyeballs to eyeballs, and he says, "I'm telling Coach Mass about this." And I said again, "Big fan, tough loss."
Big fan.
I ran back to my room as quickly as possible. But yeah, so he's probably the most famous coach I ever met. And then once we got out of school, Coach Mass had me actually going on road trips with him to recruit. And we went to recruit a man by the name of Billy Owens.
Oh.
And we pull up to this outdoor court, and sitting on a swing is Jim Boeheim. And Rolly and I go over there and sit next to him on another swing. And out on the court is Billy Owens with these huge orange sneakers on his feet. And we both said to Boeheim, "Well, this looked like a trip that wasn't needed," because the kid's already wearing these Syracuse orange sneakers. So we got a good laugh.
You didn't push him on the swing.
We got a good laugh out of that. I think I had some kind of notes that my dog is actually sitting on at this point. But I think the funniest famous people trip I ever took was with the Corazelli family. And for those viewers that don't know, Frank Corazelli is the funniest guy we know. John was being nice earlier by saying I was one of the funniest guys he knows, but he knows Frank is number one.
Frank's funny.
Well, we all went to Florida, and little did we know that there was an all-star tournament going on there. Coach Mass was one of the coaches, along with Dr. Tom from Iowa.
Sure.
Remember him?
Dr. Tom Davis.
Yep. Yes. Nice, Johnny. And so Coach Mass said, "Hey, why don't you get on the bus?" So the Corazelli family and myself are on the bus heading over to the gym. And you got all these famous, these are just college kids. But when we get to the court, you have all these scouts that included Jerry West, Bill Russell, All these famous people are sitting there. And the funny part came in when Bill Russell refused to take a photo with Frank and Mrs. C. And I said, I swear, if I see this guy later, there's a nullification coming into his life. And sure, because Jerry West took a photo. And sure enough, we're walking through the hallway later of the hotel, and Bill Russell's walking toward the elevator with some girl half his age. And I get to him just before he enters the elevator. And it might have been my best nullification of all time. I'm down on one knee. I'm swinging arms. He's looking at me like he's looking for security. So he just ducked into the elevator with this girl and hit the number. And he was, to this day, he must be concerned as to who that was.
Well,
that was nullifying.
He's dead. That's okay.
You don't refuse a photo with Mrs. C.
No, you don't do that. No. He deserved what he got.
Yeah. And then, so outside of athletes, I would say earlier we talked about Roy Scheider. He's sitting there at a brunch where my dad lives. And again, he was strictly a big fan, comment, and walk away. And the same with Spacey. Kevin Spacey, Shabby, you'll appreciate this. Remember the movie Albino Alligator?
I don't remember that one. I may have missed that one.
It's crazy. He was the producer or director, but Matt Dillon was in it. Sinise was in it. Faye Dunaway. So it had some famous people, and it did take place in a bar, but he was the opening show. Like, this was literally the first time it was in a theater, was in the Fairfield Community Theater years ago. I don't even know if that exists anymore.
Go there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I go walking out to get go to the restroom or grab a snack or something. He's standing out there because he's trying to watch the audience reaction to the movie. And I think it was more than just big fan. I said, oh, so you have to be like incognito, whatever. So short conversation with him. He's one of my favorite actors, by the way. I think all the rumors about him being a pervert are not true. And then finally, I would say during my Nestle Waters job, where I had to actually be on the truck 3 days a week when we were delivering the Poland Spring. Johnny, you awake?
I'm loving every minute of it.
We'd have to deliver to all these famous people in Westchester and Fairfield County. One of them was Martha Stewart, and she lived up to her billing. She did. I don't think I ever saw the woman smile in public, or at least face to face. Bobby Bonilla, for you Mets fans out there, he was he was pleasant. And then the lead singer for Aerosmith was one of our customers, and he would always come out, and he had makeup on, and he was full character.
He loved water. That's what I heard.
Oh my God, that's why he stayed so thin. Had nothing to do with the needles. But yeah, so I put a bunch of different people in there, and if I forgot one, I'll make sure that I write in. I'll put it in the comments.
that was a full meal. I loved it. I think my favorite is Billy Owens with the Syracuse sneakers.
Yeah.
Bobby, any comments?
I'm not sure about Spacey though. The rumors being
well, we're not gonna litigate that on today on that.
Shabby. I knew Shabby was gonna go there. And by the way, I have not shown enough love towards Shabby yet on this call or on this Zoom or this show. I guess show is the best word to use. But Shabby introduced me to a kind of music.
Yeah.
Because I roomed right next door to him. And when I heard that music that he liked when he was, 18 in 1983.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that music.
He did that.
Whether it was Dead Kennedys or hey, what was that other group that was a little more little more part of the main.
Oh, you know who you liked because they were such a big hit, like for 1 year. Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was actually the first song at my wedding. Relax.
Don't do it. Yeah,
That's not the
I
first
thought you
song you
were
want
gonna
to play
say
at a wedding, but
I thought you were gonna say
I have a
Lawrence
cool wife.
Bell. Uh,
The Smiths.
oh, very good. Yeah, Rob was ahead of his time. He was a punk rocker from the wilds of middle New Jersey. He and his gang of seven there. They like that music.
I like. I lived in. Remember, sophomore year, I had the room with John Martin.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had nothing on our walls, and we had the full size refrigerator. That was a
That
fun
was a
room.
nice well, you were studying a lot. Um
Yes.
Johnny,
Shabby got actually. Can I add this in as while we're worshiping Shabby?
yes.
His he got his reputation early because he roomed with Steve Pannone, fellow basketball player, team member, where he literally had baby powder next to his bed, so that when his feet, which smelled incredible, he would just slap them in there and then kind of like shake them off so that the scent wasn't quite as bad. And Bobby lived with that for a year.
I think he had an endorsement from Johnson and Johnson after that for the baby powder.
After the championship, they
Yeah,
grabbed him.
I think they got him to step into things. That was well, let's start to land the plane after we heard about Stevie Pinto. That was brilliant, Johnny.
I
We
feel
gotta
like we
have
missed so much.
we got to have you on to again for just sports, but that was so good. And really, I cherished my time with this guy. We had and Robert too, but we had a little too much fun in life. But that's okay. We're still having it. I ask everyone the same question, Johnny, but you have so many. I always say, what would you say to the person if you saw him again? So I'm gonna pick one from your group. I'm going to pick one from your group. I'm not going to pick Kevin Spacey. What would you say if you saw, let's go with Bill Russell. What would you say to him if you saw him again? He's dead, but if you
Oh, if I could really sit down and have a beer with that guy, I would say what would cause, because I think this a lot about a lot of people, and it kind of relates to like my own mental health. There's some people out there that come across as very negative when you would think they have everything going for them. So I would say to Bill Russell, what puts you in a position to not at least 80% of the time want to appreciate like how you're blessed and sharing that with other people rather than refusing to be photographed or give an autograph
that's very nice.
or whatever the case may be. Because there's a lot of those people out there, and I can understand it when they're in their prime and
Yeah.
it's nonstop attention and requests. But this was Bill Russell when he was no longer,
Yeah.
playing. He was at a place where not everybody was attacking him. And I just wanted a nice photo
Oh, that's really
with one of
nice.
my best friends and his mom. And this guy said, I don't do photos.
I really like that, Johnny. You try to understand him a little bit and find out a little bit the human, find out why.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of the opposite. I'm not in my prime anymore either, but I ask people if they'll take a photo with me.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
a lot of people won't. I just go on the street. I go, "You want a photo with me?" And for some reason, they don't. They don't. And I'd like to sit down with them and say, "Why not? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?"
It's
Yeah.
Um,
not.
What happens to me is I'm living near a college campus and I'll go up to total strangers. They're normally like 20-year-old girls. And I'll say, can we do a selfie? And sometimes they'll refuse, and I'm confused by that.
well, that might be healthy. All right. So, Bobby, would you like to say one last word to Mr. Branca before we sign off?
No, it's great to see him. I haven't seen him in so long.
I know these guys are great
When are you
friends.
coming east?
We're all great friends. I could sit here and tell Wolfie stories for hours. We had a lot of fun. He's still in our lives. We love him. We love our Nova friends. That was a great time of life, 1983 to 87. And that championship will forever be special, not just because we won it, but the people, the Steve Panones, the Harold Jensens, the Presleys, the Pinkneys, the Massiminos, the John Brancas. They were a really great group, Bobby Schaub, and the great John Branca. And till next time, I'll say adieu to both you and to our audience. Bye bye.